Hello and welcome to Firstpost. Throughout the week, you're inundated with news, the heavy-duty kinds. So, since it's the weekend, we thought we'd bring you something different. The odd, the offbeat, the outlandish stories that didn't make it to the headlines. Welcome to Beyond Bizarre. Our first story comes from China. The country faces another crisis, a crisis of unemployment. There just aren't enough jobs these days, and the Chinese government doesn't seem to be doing much. So, people are taking matters into their own hands. Like there's this one woman who's been employed as a full-time daughter. Yes, daughter, with pay and everything. Here's our report.
The Chinese job market is facing some serious turbulence. The country's recovery from the pandemic is wobbling, while it faces record-high unemployment. The job market is shrinking, the pay scale is falling, and people are working longer hours as they struggle both emotionally and professionally. Basically, the situation is quite dire. While some workers are looking for odd jobs, others have odd ideas about finding employment, like Nianan. She is a 40-year-old Chinese woman. She worked for a news agency for 15 years, but recently she had been exposed to heightened levels of stress. She was facing the pressure of being on call 24 hours a day. So, her parents stepped in and they offered a job role to her, one that she happily accepted. What are we talking about? Nianan has become a full-time daughter. Yes, apparently in the real meaning of the word, with pay and everything. She will be paid $570 a month for her work. Talk about taking pocket money to the next level. But Nianan doesn't get to sprawl in front of the TV all day. She works for the money. In the morning, she spends an hour dancing with her parents. Then she accompanies them grocery shopping and cooks dinner with her father. What's more, she takes responsibility for all electronic-related teachings. Imagine if kids could get paid to teach their parents WhatsApp and Instagram. It would really take the frustration out of the task. But Nianan has found something that works for her. She calls it a profession filled with love. And while most people find this bizarre, some are actually treating this as an alternative. And why won't they? A record 11.6 million college graduates are entering the workforce this year. 1 out of every 5 of them is unemployed. These aren't the best of times for China. People need jobs and money, but their leader, Xi Jinping, is unable to create employment. So he is trying to help out in his own way. By giving terrible advice. He is asking people to eat bitterness. It is a colloquial expression. It means to endure hardships. Not only this, the Chinese government is officially gaslighting people. The party's propaganda machine is spinning stories about young people making a decent living by delivering meals, fishing, recycling, and more. They're clearly deflecting accountability, all while the economy is crushing people. So maybe it's time she dims the gaslight, because eating bitterness is just means to a bitter end.
They say support is the foundation of any relationship. But where do we draw the line? Take this example. This Brazilian man, his wife won second place in a beauty pageant. But it wasn't enough. He was furious and he stormed on stage and broke the winner's crown. Here's our report. Who says that no one remembers anyone for coming second? In fact, sometimes being a runner-up gets you more eyeballs than coming in first. At least when you have a passionate husband. We're talking about the Miss Gay Mato Grosso, a drag beauty pageant in Brazil, where contestant Nathally Becker was awarded the second place honors. But second best was apparently not good enough for her husband, who many are calling unhinged. We'll tell you why. While Becker was placed second, Emannuelly Belini got the first prize. But her ceremony was rudely interrupted. As Becker's husband stormed the stage, there was rage in his eyes and destruction in his heart. He hijacked the winner's crown, then slammed it to the ground. He picked it up, then hurled it again, smashing the crown to smithereens. The crowd was completely shocked. People shrieked. Ultimately, the hot-headed husband was escorted off the stage. The video has obviously gone viral, and people are offering mixed reactions. While some say this is the kind of support they look for in a relationship, others have shamed the husband's violent behavior. But chaos in beauty competitions is not as rare as one would think. We don't even have to look far back for examples. Let's give you similar instances from last year. NYC held its first ever Miss Sri Lanka pageant. It saw a fair amount of chaos and confusion. Then, Miss USA also faced a controversy. Several people alleged that the contest was rigged. And all of this may seem outlandish, but what are beauty pageants without a bit of drama? While some people are desperately chasing jobs, others are really trying to leave the fast lane. Like South Koreans, they've turned spacing out into a sport. What are we talking about? Here's our report. When was the last time you voluntarily spaced out? You know, just sat idle and didn't even move a finger? If it's been a while, you probably miss it. After all, spacing out time and again is a good thing. Sitting idle helps us relax. But our fast-paced lives don't let us be idle for long. So we need to come up with quirky ideas to space out. If you need some more inspiration, just take a look at what the South Koreans were up to this week. South Korea held its annual SpaceOut competition. Think of it as the one day every year where doing nothing is a competitive sport. It's a performance art event for city dwellers. They participate in the competition to take a break and do nothing. Over 2,000 people signed up to participate, but only about 210 were chosen. This competition challenges a widespread belief. One that says zoning out is a waste of time. In this event, the more one zones out, the bigger the reward. And how does one win? Contestants have to be as zen as they can for 90 minutes. Meanwhile, the staff goes around taking their pulses at fixed intervals. The person with the most stable pulse wins. But here's the catch. People have to sit idle, but they can't fall asleep. If they do, they get disqualified. This event has received mixed reactions. Many are eager to participate and call zoning out an art or a sport. But there are some who merely think of it as a form of entertainment. Which is okay too. If this is merely an entertaining event, it's still a good thing, because it doesn't involve technology or even spending money. Frankly, it's all about doing nothing at all, because sometimes doing nothing is everything. That's all for this edition of Beyond Bazaar. We'll be back again next week with stories that are anything but basic.